Hey, this is John with CZ Grain, and in this video we're going to talk about growing willows as bonsai. You can see here, this is a gold weeping willow I planted a year ago from a cutting. You can actually see the cutting still right here. We'll remove that today. But it's growing a lot in the year. We'll do some work on this tree. And so when you get it in the mail, you're going to get a couple different cuttings. You're going to get a thick one, a couple thin ones. You know, it's going to look something like this. But in a year, you can turn it to this. So we're going to show you how to do that. So what I have here are a couple display pots. As you notice, my tree is growing in a big flower pot. I grow mine outside. It's easier to get full sun, full environment, and I'm getting a lot of water. But for demonstration purposes, we're going to plant some in these display pots. And what I found here, look at this gnarly dude. You can see this has been in water for probably 3 weeks. These are just roots that grow in water. I would recommend, if you get these in the mail, I would recommend growing them in water for a week or two. So you get some roots like this, some top growth like that. So we're gonna plant this guy in this big old 18-inch display pot. I use CZ Grain soil. It's all natural, so I have bat guano and all natural stuff. It's pretty easy. Plant it there so the roots are underground. See that? So the roots are all under there. We'll pat that down and give it some water. A little water out of here. The key with these trees, you got to give them a lot of water and a lot of light. As fast as they grow, they need the resources to do so. If you put this tree inside with no light, it's going to die in about a week. You need to get some light. That's why I grow mine in full sun outdoors. But you can grow indoors, you just need a grow light. So if you put a light up here, this is going to start naturally grow to the light, you know. The roots are going to take hold, it's going to be solid, and then it's just going to grow just exponentially. That's why willows are so popular for bonsai. They're fast growing. They're very hardy, they're easy, you can cut on them whenever you want. They're just a great beginner to even advanced tree for bonsai. They just grow so fast. I'll plant one here too. See, that's pretty simple. Make a little hole. See, and if the roots are higher than you want them to be, that's okay. Like say I want to see this curve right here. I'm just gonna plant it not very deep at all. See that? These roots will just dry up and go away. Don't worry about that. You can trim them if you want, but if you want to go for that curved look, that's what I would do right there. So now that's gonna be just fine. We'll water it, and those trees are just gonna grow like crazy. They're really fun to grow. They're just amazing. You come home from work and it's like just grown and like since you were gone. They're really amazing. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna give these trees 3 or 4 weeks to get rooted, to get healthy in their new environment. You know, I wouldn't necessarily give them full sun today because the roots aren't in there very well yet. I would give them maybe partial sun, like where we're at here. Gonna get a little bit of sun, a little bit of shade. This would be a great 2-week environment for these trees. Water them every day. You gotta water them every single day. And I have pots with drainage holes. That way you can overwater them and the water will get out of there. So you don't wanna have soggy soil, but you wanna have well-drained wet soil. About the pots, like this tree's only gonna get so big in this pot because it's gonna get root bound. You know, it might get, this big. It's not gonna get big like this one where it has a huge pot, ton of room to grow. This tree will get bigger. The roots are just going to be able to grow bigger. But you can always repot it later. We do sell these 18-inch oval grow pots on Amazon. They're very popular. This is an 11-inch rectangle. We have tons of variation of plastic bonsai pots on Amazon. So let's trim the big tree. Yeah, so I call that the front. That's the front of the tree. So I'm going to work it from the back. So we're going to give this thing a trim. So I don't want to take too much. It's a year-old tree. I'm going to trim it just down. That way I can encourage thickening at the lower trunk. I want to encourage thickening down here. So I'm going to leave all this big growth. I'm going to take some of the side growth out. So here we go. Remember, once you cut, you can't put it back on. And then this is the actual cutting that we planted. You can see it's not very thick at all. It died back. I'm going to remove that. So there's the cutting. The rest of it underground grew just fine. I'm just gonna top this thing off. Leave some options for later on. And I will say, if you're gonna transplant a tree from like what we saw earlier, one of those display pots, if you're going to go bigger, you wanna transplant it when it's dormant. Do it after the leaves have fallen in the fall. That'll be less stressful for the plant. And then just gonna trim this thing up. I'm just trying to encourage lower growth thickening right now. So we're not gonna be too drastic here. Just trim this thing down. I can always come back later and trim it more. But I'm going for that weeping willow look. As you see, once the leaves start to weigh down the branches, they'll weep. So if you want these little branches to weep, you're gonna have to wire it. You know, you're gonna have to wire it when it's soft like this. You can take some bonsai styling wire and kind of go whatever you want. But naturally, they will weep once they get heavy enough, once the leaves weigh them down. And there's other style, like our dragon bonsai, it does not weep. The curly willow doesn't weep. What do you think here? I'm gonna look at it from the front. That's a trim for sure. Just trying to give it a little haircut here. That's pretty good. So what this is gonna do now is now this tree is gonna be just like shocked, like what? I lost my top. So it's gonna encourage new rooting, new growth, and thickening. This is all gonna thicken up. And that's what I'm going for. So maybe in the fall here, this is July now, in the fall, we'll look at it again once the leaves fall off, and then we might decide if we're gonna leave some of these main branches or if we're gonna take them out. I'm gonna see how to give it a little bit more time. I like the way this looks. Let's let this thing grow a little bit. And I always work from the front. I pick the front of the tree and then I work from there, like how I wanna style it. So this is, I feel good about this. We'll leave this alone. We'll give it a nice big drink of water, put it back outside, and just let it grow the rest of the season. We'll come look at it in the fall when the leaves fall off of it. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoy growing bonsais. We sure do. It's just a really fun hobby. It's very soothing. When I'm out with my trees and I'm cutting them, styling them, it brings me a lot of joy. So I hope you guys get some joy in our trees. Check us out on CZ Grain, on Amazon, Walmart, any of the platforms basically. GetTreesFast.com, and we'll get you hooked up.